Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm so excited about today. I mean, I'm excited for all of these, but today is really special because I have on a dear friend. She's been my doctor for 15 years. So I have learned so many amazing things from this woman. So I feel really blessed. But before we start, I just want to reach out and acknowledge our sponsors and our partners because we've just finished 2 weeks of these, and I have to tell you, without you guys, I mean, your help, your generosity, your openness, your support, it's really means so much to me and to our team at Inside Out. So thank you so much. And to all of you out there for tuning in. And also, like, you guys have been amazing. You've been sending us the kindest messages. You've also been sending us suggestions on what you want to hear. So please keep sending them because we are taking your suggestions and we're curating the next couple segments with what it is you want to hear, because that's really what this is about. This is about helping you to have practical tools that you can survive and actually thrive in these crazy times. So talk about thriving. We want to have an immune system that is bulletproof, that's really thriving. And normally I would be doing my little breath work that I love, but Dr. Susanne Bennett has a technique that she uses, that she teaches all of her patients to actually do the same thing that those 3 breaths does, that grounds you, that gets your parasympathetic nervous system, grounded and calm, because you cannot have a great immune system if your nervous system is completely wackadoo. So let me introduce my dear friend, Dr. Susanne Bennett. Hi, Susanne.
Hey, Lavin. So happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share some of our amazing strategies that will really boost your ability to fight off anything, really, and be strong. But more importantly, also to create this community and sharing information. Thanks so much for doing that. And thank you for your sponsors as well as the big support.
All right, so lead us in this opening.
Well, let's talk about the parasympathetic nervous system a little bit. What is that? There's that fight flight was the sympathetic, and there's the opposite, which is the parasympathetic. It makes us calm, it helps us sleep, it helps us relax, and it helps stimulate our feel-good hormones in our brain, right? So one of the things that I do with all of my patients is that I teach them how to laugh. Now, people might think, laughing, well, we do this naturally, right? But did you know that, if you don't laugh enough, you're not stimulating that parasympathetic nervous system. Let me share you what happens is that, 40-year-old, this is a true story, true study. A 40-year-old only laughs about 4 times a day, whereas a 4-year-old child about 300 times. I mean, there's a huge discrepancy. Children are always laughing and they're just having so much fun, right? So I'm asking everyone out there to help you with your parasympathetic nervous system, calm your body down, is to get your daily laughter quota. So let me explain to you about laughing. Now, you might not be happy. Right now, there's a lot going on in the world, a lot of stress. But laughing can actually be an exercise, and that's what I teach. And what we're doing is we're stimulating the back of your throat, because in the back of your throat, that's where your parasympathetic vagal nerve is located. It goes way in the back. So have you ever brush your teeth and your tongue, and all of a sudden you kind of have that choking experience or gagging? That's actually good for you. That's a parasympathetic stimulating technique. But so does laughter. And of course, I'd rather laugh than gag, right?
Yeah.
So the way you do that is you use the word ha. So you do it 5 times. Ha, 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 ha. So that's 5 ha's. And when you do that, you've got to really open up the back of your throat, arch your head back. And I'm going to just show it to you now, okay? Just so that you can hear. And I would love everyone out there listening and watching this to do it together. So let me go ahead and show you. You're going to arch your head back and do this. And you can put your hand on your belly and you go, ha, 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 ha. Can you do that for me, Lavin?
Can we do it together?
Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Actually, that's pretty good.
It feels feels good, but it kind of like makes you want to laugh as well, because it's kind of silly at the same time. But what you're doing is you're really stimulating. So you got to get big volume, deep back in the throat, arching your head back, and that stimulus of the nasopharynx, that's called way in the back, that's going to tickle your vagal nerve. And then, I mean, you know, I've had a case where a patient of mine had anxiety, like having an anxiety attack while I'm on the phone. Oh so God. When you're anxious, it's hard to talk to someone and say, you got to calm down. It doesn't work that way. What really works is action, motion, movement, whether you go out for a walk or drink a glass of water, something. So I had her laugh with me, and I'm telling you, her anxiety attack just completely went away, went down from like a 9 to like a 2. So this is something you can use not just to help you with your fight-flight system, but really to calm you down and produce those neurotransmitters, the feel-good serotonin and GABA in your body. On top of that, it helps you move your lymphatic system in your gut, because you're, you know, having a big, deep laugh and your diaphragm's moving. You're going to get more oxygenation in your cells, which is super important for detoxification. We need to cleanse. If you have a lot of toxicity in your body, then you're going to minimize your immunity. It's like a seesaw. If you've got too much stress, your immune system goes down. If you end up having not enough sleep, your immune system goes down. It's kind of like sleep, but if you're awake too long, then your immune system goes down. Everything is about immunity. And so if you're toxic, your immune system goes down too. And when you laugh, you're stimulating your lymphatics, and there's what's called a mesenteric lymphatic system in your gut, and you're massaging that, and you overall feel a surge of energy in your body, don't you?
So let me ask you, how often would people do this? Like, is this something that they would do like 5 times the laughing?
Yes. I usually tell people to do anywhere from 5 to 7 times straight in a row, and as needed. I mean, so like I said, that
okay to do at the end of the day. It won't. So it's fine to do it after dinner. We could have a family laughing session.
Absolutely. You can do it together. You know, I do it a lot on a lot of my lectures when I speak on stage. I do this always at the end of my speaking, because I just want everyone to feel good after we're done, because I have a tendency to say a lot and give a lot of content. And today's all about that. And I do want to be able to share. There's a lot of things that you can do at home. And this is one of the best things that you can do for your immunity. It's well known to actually stimulate your immune system and immune factors.
All right, great. So could we do like 3 times so everybody will join in so they could really feel the benefits of it?
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it 3 times, and we'll just start on the 3rd when I say number 3, and then you start laughing.
Okay, great.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, are we doing it again?
3 times, straight in a row.
Okay.
Were you able to do that?
Yeah, you got stuck for a second, so I wasn't really sure what was happening, but all right, good. So let's just jump right in there, Susanne. We're talking today about creating a bulletproof immune system. And obviously, this is where we're at right now. People really want to get healthy. They want to understand why. One of the reasons why I've always loved working with you is the techniques that you have taught me over 15 years you've filled my toolbox, you know, in ways so that I really understand even before I get sick. You know, if I get a little tickle in my throat, I know what to do. If my eye's itching, I know what to do. If I get a little rash on my face, I know what to do. Like, you have taught me so many things over these years that honestly, like, I'm the person that all my friends call now when they're having those issues. And I just have to laugh because it's really so much of what I've learned really comes from you over the years. And the thing that I've always loved about you is you were never the person that was like, okay, take a little Benadryl. You know, you always had so many other things in your toolbox to offer me, from supplements to even just food to little things that I did. Like I remember when I first started with you 15 years ago, I had chronic sinus stuff. And I've had that since I was a little girl. You know, I mean, there wasn't an area that that I didn't have a box of tissues with me. And I just sort of thought, well, this is how it is. I'm prone to these little sinus stuff. I mean, it wasn't an infection, it was just an over amount of mucus. And then once I started working with you and you started teaching me how to even use colloidal silver with a vaporizer up my nose and some of the supplements that was designed just for that. Oh my God, I love that. It changed my life. Like now I go out, I never need tissues anywhere. I mean, I would say within 6 months, you shifted all of that. The same thing, like I had this little rash on my face and I went to the dermatologist and they were like, oh, maybe that's the beginning of rosacea. I'm thinking, I'm not feeling that. Like that doesn't run in my family. My food isn't. And then you talked to me about some of this stuff and the liver, and maybe you have to do a little liver cleanse and a little yeast cleanse. And we did a liver cleanse and we did a yeast cleanse, and voila, in 30 days, my skin looked amazing. And knock on wood, I've never had those little red dots on my face again. So there are just so many things that you have taught me over the years. And that's what I'm so excited for you to share things, practical things that people can do. As soon as they leave us today, they can start implementing it. Now, I know you have, I think it's the 7 Ps.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the 7 Ps is really about the strategies on developing your immunity and strength. And I want to go to each one of them, but I want to just share with everyone is that when it comes to immune system, I don't want you to think about your immunity as we have to always be strong, because that's not the situation here. What we want to make sure is that you have both strength, but also you know how to quench that fire. If you right now in the corona, a lot of people are afraid of, oh, am I going to get that cytokine storm, right? The cytokine storm is when you get really reactive and then you end up having to be in the hospital and possibly be on the ventilator because there's an overshoot. There's too much going on and the patients cannot breathe. But what we want, you don't want too much, but you don't want too little either. We've got to find that space. And I want to share with you what you can do to create that robust immunity, but also know when to quench it. All right. This is super important. We did our first P when we were laughing. It's one of my P's. It's called play. I want everyone to be more playful. And because playful is all about also stimulating your immunity, being enjoying every different aspect of. Here's my dog. Here, can you see her, Lavinia?
Yes, Lola.
Lola. So I'm someone that plays with my dog a lot. And, oh, my earpiece. And when I play, I don't just like touch her. I'm actually on my hands and feet and playing with her and playing catch and, just really roughhousing like I'm a puppy too. So bring that puppy love, right? I'm bringing that.
It's all the energy that you're putting into it.
Absolutely. Your energy, and you start to vibrate very similarly as an animal would. And they say that when you've got an animal in your life or a little pet, that it really brings a lot of joy and that will boost your immunity. What else do? I don't know, Lavinia, this is my ukulele. I've been a student of guitar for a long time now. Actually, a long time, but I love playing, and to me, the sound of the ukulele is very, very soothing. It's not like an electric guitar where it's really, hitting hard on the notes. And it just sounds so good, right? So I play with music.
What you're saying is we really have to do things that bring us into our happy place.
Absolutely.
That really make our soul feel good, our heart feel good.
Right. And being playful, you're connecting to your inner voice and your inner child.
And sometimes people, what I've noticed is some of the feedback and some of the questions we get is like, they feel guilty at this time. Like, I feel guilty, like playing, I feel guilty having fun. And I say, you know what? Like, shift that, because you need that. You need that vibration inside of you to stay healthy. And also, that's what you send out to the world and the people around you. So it keeps everything in this place of faith and hopefulness. So it becomes very contagious.
That's right.
When
That's
you're
right.
vibrating.
You're really good at that, Lavinia. You sent earlier, was it yesterday morning? You sent a text, hey, let's go dance, right? Because you have a group that, and we, with Sindera and Chandera, and it was so much fun. I know you had a great time doing that. And those are the things that you want to do. And that creates community. Even if we are separate, we're still within a community, and we have these Zoom calls and what you're doing now. So that's exactly it. Let's go into the next P. And the one that I believe is probably the most important out of all of the different P's that I talked to you about, if not the second, is actually prevention, preventive diet. Make sure you've got a prevention diet. And what does that mean? Because right now we have limited amounts of food too. When we go to the store, we don't want to be in there all day long shopping, right? Because we need to limit our time in the store, try to get in and out quickly. There's not a lot of vegetables. Some of the stores, they ran out of vegetables. I had one time, 2 weeks in a row, I couldn't get garlic. So there's a lot of things that you want to make sure in a preventive diet is that, number one, you want to cut down on your sugar. Why? Because viruses love sugar. It thrives on sugar. Viruses, all types of viruses, including the corona that we're dealing with now. And as well, dairy is a mucus producing food. In the gut, because when you're eating it, you end up having, let's say, reflux or postnasal drip, or you get bloated and gassy. You might have diarrhea or constipation. All of these are signs and symptoms. Some people only get a rash on their skin from dairy. Some people actually get excited, meaning like it's called a neurotoxin in dairy that's called casomorphins, and it creates excitation in your brain. So you can't sleep. And there's a lot of reasons why dairy is one of those foods that you want to eliminate, or allergenic foods. There's two others that I like people to also minimize. One is gluten grains, and gluten grains are wheat, rye, barley, oats, kamut, and spelt. And those are the main gluten grains that also create more inflammation. And the more inflammation you've got, then you cannot help build your immunity, fight off the bugs. And the last one, this is the harder one, and it's alcohol. Because we're more indoors, there are more and more people are having an alcoholic drink. And I know that people have it for the evening, but I will tell you, alcohol is seven calories of sugar. And whereas regular sugar, white sugar, is 4. So that's higher amount of sugar, which then increases you're feeding any more bugs, and it has an effect on your body. Not only that, it will irritate your gut lining and your immunity in your gut. 60-70% of our immune system actually is within the gut, which then is so important. So cutting out those 4, dairy, sugar, alcohol, and gluten, will be my first 4.
Do you give people like, what kind of diet? Just what would a daily diet look like for somebody that's going to be on a prevention diet? What would that look like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
I'm someone that believes you can eat anything for each meal. I don't only eat eggs in the morning. I can eat eggs at night. I'm someone that believes in every meal you need some vegetables. Some people, they can go without any carbohydrates and they can have protein. But if you don't know if it's good for you or not, meaning like you've been fine having some good carbs. And what are good carbohydrates? This is like quinoa, sweet potatoes, brown rice, squash, a pumpkin, rooted vegetables. Those are the ones that you can have, that you can mix. But I'll tell you, if you just do proteins, good fats, good vegetables, and a little bit of carbs, you're totally fine. I find that people do better on the carbohydrates in the evening, only because In the evening, you need that so they can get deeper sleep, which goes into my second thing. But let me finish up though with the diet. I love everything that is plant-based, except when you've got, issues with certain types of allergies for certain types of plant foods. And fats, very important. Oils and fats are essential because it lubricates your tissues, lubricates your lungs. If you're dry in your lungs because your cells are not lubricated with good enough oils, then you're actually predispositioned to have more asthma, more lung symptoms, and COPD, let's say, another chronic lung issue. And then you can also open yourself up to getting more viruses. So it's super important that you do eat really healthy oils like avocado, olive oil, walnut oil. I love sesame oil. So the good oils, what you want to stay away from are the oils that are very common. Safflower, corn, peanut oil. These are oils that the restaurants use, and I don't find that they're even healthy. In fact, they can do the opposite for your body.
Sure. Okay, great. I love flaxseed oil too.
Oh, doing flaxseed every single day. You can mix that together with different types of foods, but
you know what? I just put it on a tablespoon and drink it like that.
That's great.
Just to make sure I get it in.
Right. It is really important. Flaxseed really enhances your ability to produce glutathione. People don't realize that, but glutathione being an antioxidant, and it reduces joint pain. I've had people reduce joint pain and inflammation so quickly taking in flaxseed.
I love that. All right, great. So I think we have an idea with the food, and then what?
I do want to tell you one thing about that microbiome, Lavinia. It's really important that you understand your gut. Being that 60 to 70% of your immunity is in the gut, you want to build a robust microbiome. And how do you do that? Is you could take probiotics, right? You could take probiotics, but I'm a big believer in kimchi. And now, what is kimchi? Of course, you can do sauerkraut, pickles. It's got to be fermented, though. Fermented means you naturally use salt as a way to get rid of the bad bugs, and then you allow the lactic acid bacteria to grow. And then you eat a little bit of it a day. You only need a tablespoon a day. If a tablespoon a day will keep the doctor away, there is no doubt about that. And it will build the diversity and your microbiome. In probiotics, there might be only, let's say, 25, if you're lucky, 25 billion CFUs. CFUs means colony-forming units. In kimchi, 1 tablespoon can actually be over. I mean, you can have, if you do 1 tablespoon, let's say a day, probably about 60 billion at one time. I eat about 300 billion a day. That's just my usual. And to this day, over 30 years of practice, I have yet to be sick, and I've never missed a day of work. So I really believe my kimchi has something to do with it. But you can use sauerkraut, pickles. I love coconut kefir. When you think about kimchi, it's a wild ferment, meaning you don't put any starter in it. A lot of the yogurts out there, and coconut yogurt, almond yogurt, they use a starter. But not the wild ferments is really what you want, because then you get at least 1,000 different strains of bacteria.
Wow, love that. This is all such great information. And I just want to let everybody know out there, we're going to be putting this information that we're talking about on our website at laviniaerico.com. So if you're not getting all of it, of course, write some stuff down. But if you're not getting it, you can just pop on to the website and we'll have all this written out for you. It's amazing, Susanne. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much, Lavinia. So the next P is plenty of sleep. Now that we're at home, self-isolation, we have more hours, but I am finding that some of my patients, I still treat a lot of people because I do everything on the phone. And I see that some people, their rhythm is thrown off because they're stuck at home, and sleep is one of those things that you need for a very long, I would say deep sleep is what you really, really want. But there's 3 phases of sleep. Sure, you're awake, but the phase is light sleep, REM sleep, and deep sleep. And when you sleep right in the beginning, you end up going into the first 2 to 3 hours is into the deep sleep. And then it goes in and out from deep to light to REM, deep to light to REM. And REM sleep is when you get that rapid eye movement. And that's when you do most of your consolidation of your memory from the day before that day. So if you're learning new things and you want to consolidate, you remember all the things that are important. I mean, we've got like 60,000 thoughts a day. And you don't want to remember everything. And during those REM sleep, which is mainly around 4 o'clock a.m., around 4 a.m., that's the reason why we can remember our dreams. Because REM is when we dream the most. That's when you wake up, you're like, oh, wow. And you can write your dream down. I love dream tracking because it means a lot. You can figure out some major ahas when you know about your dreams. So you do want to dream. Some people don't dream at all. But the one thing that's very interesting is that I've learned a great deal about sleep patterns. And I found that everyone has their own unique sleep rhythm, their biorhythm or circadian rhythm. And what that means is this: your rhythm, Lavinia, might be different from mine, and I've got to go to sleep between 11 and 12, whereas you've got to go at 10. It is every one of us have our unique rhythm. So do not believe that you've got to go to bed always at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Not at all. Children is different. Children, they need a specific number of hours because that's when all the growth and development, growth of the bones, the muscles, the nervous system, the liver, all of your organs, children need at a specific time period and hours, because ultimately a certain amount of hours will improve your level of hormones that's released in our body. One is growth hormone, and children need high levels of growth hormone. Another is melatonin, and melatonin is the one that really helps as a super antioxidant, but also, again, keeps us in a very deep state of sleep. Now, when we, as adults, it's harder for us to get deeper sleep. And that's the reason why it's important that you actually find your rhythm. I wear a sleep tracker and it's in a ring form, but a lot of people, you can get it in a watch, right? There's an app that it tracks your breathing in and out. But I don't know how accurate that one is. But anyway, the reason why you want to track is you want to see what is my sweet spot? What is that time period that I sleep the most? I can sleep the most, Lavinia, when I go to bed between 11 and 11:30. That maybe 10:45, but 11 to 11:30 is what I look for. If I do that, I get deep sleep. I get 7 hours of deep sleep. And that's what I need minimum. 8 is my favorite. But whichever way, even if I got 7, because I got enough deep sleep, I got enough REM sleep, my day feels like I'm totally ready for the day. Lavinia, when is your best sleep time?
I would say 11 o'clock.
Same.
When I turn my lights down at 11 o'clock and then I'm great. But sometimes I notice that I can start tossing and turning at about 4 o'clock. I'm not ready to get up, but I'm definitely, I guess I'm going over from deep sleep to REM, and I'm aware of it. And then I have to kind of like not let my mind not think about something at that moment. Because I know that if I think about something, then it's harder for me to stay in sleep. I just have to I have a little mantra that I do. And when I do that mantra, it just sort of keeps me, and I can go back to sleep. Because
it's a good thing that you can go back to sleep. Often people have to pee.
How do you recommend what you say to people? Because I know I have a lot of girlfriends, especially when they were, premenopausal, or if you have something on your mind, like when you have something on your mind, or times like this, we need sleep more. But these are the times when it's harder for us to naturally sleep. So what are the suggestions, aside from finding the rhythm, that you could say to people, okay, this is like a help to get you to the other side? Because, it's easy to change a pattern quickly with sleep. So you kind of want to constantly bring yourself back. That much I know.
First of all, you definitely want to be able to create a ritual, sleep ritual, or create, what you call sleep hygiene. The one thing that I do use are these blue light blockers. Blue light blockers. Now, what are they? Why do you want to block out the blue light? Blue light comes from this computer, from light, of course, any of your gadgets, your phone, TV, all of that creates a blue light. And at nighttime, when the sun goes down, it becomes dark. That blue light, if you keep it up, that's going to keep you up. That's number one. And it agitates your nervous system. So you can get these blue light blockers online. It's so easy to get. And amber colored glasses. And what that does is it turns off, takes all the blue light out, and then it starts stimulating your own pineal gland, which is where it produces your melatonin. We want melatonin. And melatonin is one hormone that's in our brain. It's the only one that is stimulated at nighttime so you can get deep sleep. But there's a caveat here. People think that you shouldn't take melatonin or you can't produce your own melatonin. This is the only hormone in our body that doesn't have a negative feedback loop. What that means is that if you take melatonin, it doesn't stop your own ability to make it. So I'm a big believer in taking a little bit of melatonin, and you can start at a very low dose as like 0.3 or 0.5 milligrams. It's not much, and you can find that at any health food store, and just try a little bit of that. In addition, I'm a big believer in wearing a mask because, like I said, you wear this when you're awake, right? And I'm talking about
what time do you start? Like you wear that around your house? You and George wear them around your house? No,
George, I adore George, but he doesn't do a lot of things I do. He takes all the supplements.
So what time do you start wearing those?
I usually use these at 9 o'clock.
About
9 o'clock is when because I know, and you will be surprised. You wear this and then you start to really feel relaxed. And it's because the melatonin is slowly starting to be produced in your pineal gland.
I have another question for you that I know you're always curious about. Sleep and regards to the last time you finish your meal. Like how many hours? Because I know that can also affect some stuff. Like, so what is ideal to finish dinner, before, I try to do 4 hours, but I don't usually get that because I blame it on my husband because he's European, so he likes to eat a little bit later. But so I go for at least 3.
Got it. Well, if you have specific types of health conditions like reflux, all right, or any forms of allergies or postnasal drip, often eating will stimulate that, and then you don't want to go lay down. But more, I find that an average of anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. So you're right about 4 hours. Yeah. The only thing is this: there's a handful of people that have adrenal issues. And when they've got adrenal issues, then their body ends up having highs and lows, depending, it all depends on the individual, but they end up having a cortisol spike in the middle of the night because their blood sugar dives down, and that makes you wake up.
Right.
We don't want that. Everyone's got to figure out who you are. What kind of, you're someone that you find that you end up waking up in the middle of the night and your heart is palpitating and you can feel that surge and then you can't fall asleep. Well, try then a little bit of carbohydrate a little bit later. You can have a little snack, and those individuals, I tell them to eat a carbohydrate that's very slow breakdown, meaning like beans. Beans are great. Beans are an excellent source of carbs that are it's harder to break down so that it doesn't spike up your blood sugar, but it doesn't make you wake up.
So wait a minute, you're having people eat beans at like 9 o'clock at night?
A little bit, yeah, about like a snack. And I don't mean a lot. I'm only telling you about a quarter cup of beans with, let's say, a slice of turkey. I combine the protein with the carbs together. And the protein is because there's tryptophan in turkey.
I mean, couldn't they even do like a shake?
You can do a shake, absolutely. But shakes often, they don't have the complex carbohydrates that you want. The shakes could be mainly protein, right? So it doesn't give you enough. Plus, when it's liquid, then it liquids, although it does get digested faster, sometimes when you drink a lot, it comes up as a reflex. So you don't want that either. But I find that you got to just try it. If you do wake up in the middle of the night, you want to have a little bit extra. If you actually find yourself, you sleep at 9 o'clock and you eat at 6 o'clock, that's 3 hours. Try just having a little bit more carbs during your dinner instead of eating that snack. And then see, will it create? It's helped so much about my patients who have adrenal and blood sugar issues.
Okay, great. You know, I used to do this when my son was young, and I'm thinking like, oh, maybe I need to bring that back. I used to we have an ice cream maker, and I would put the protein shake through the ice cream maker, and literally it was like ice cream. So it was solid, but it was literally a protein shake. And it was one of the ways I gave him ice cream, my version of ice cream. But
you got to try all different things, right, Lavinia, so that we enjoy.
You got to be creative. So obviously we're running out of time. We're not going to go through all the pieces. So I would say to you, what's like the next one that is really important? And like I said, the rest of these will be on our website, or you know what, it'd be great to have you back on again, Susanne, and go over the rest of them. But
yeah, let me go ahead and go through quickly some of these.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Or if there's one more that because I know I want to go through that tapping exercise because I think.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. I'm a big believer in power exercises. And I'm not saying that you know, nowadays we can't go out, so we can't go to the gym and do all our thing, but you can do so much in home. You know, one of the things that I really recommend women to do is learn how to lift their own body. Power exercises to me are using your own body as a source of weight. Chin-ups or pull-ups. Boy, if you can do a chin-up or a pull-up, you've got mad respect from me, because women have such a tough time lifting their own body weight. Push-ups, doing anything that's pushing, pulling, lifting, you know, all of this using your whole body is, I call power exercises. Calisthenics, and everything that you learned when you were in, you know, junior high school, doing the floor exercises at the gym. Those are the things that you want to do at home.
Okay, great. I love that. Well, you know, there's so many amazing videos now online, all these programs that are really that, like they're literally bringing us back to old school, but they're effective. I mean, I have so many girlfriends saying, oh my God, I did this one. I can't even move my legs. I'm so sore. And, you know, they were like, I'm even sore than when I have my trainer at the gym or whatever, you know? So I do think that doing those also works those small little muscles, you know, in ways that we possibly haven't been doing them before. So
right. And just think about it. You're doing multiple joints. When I'm saying about lifting, you're using many joints to get that action going. When you're pulling up, you're doing your wrist and your elbow and your shoulder and your scapula, your shoulder blades are moving. So there's many joints. So multiple joint exercises is what you want to do.
Great. Okay, good. And we can actually put some of those exercises on there as well, too.
I'll go ahead and quickly of the other P's, and then we can come back and work with that. One is being peace, P for peace within you. And what you want to do, deep breathing. You're big on deep breathing and guided meditations. You want to journal. You know, I play the ukulele for peace, listen to music, anything that really connects. And I love connecting to nature. Do whatever it takes for you to really find some peace in your life. I would say purging your vices. This is super important. Purging your vices, P for purge, and smoking, especially vaping, alcohol, addictive behaviors. These are all things that's not going to serve you in any way to build your immunity. So, you know, get rid of those and do your best to minimize it. And then protection. Protect your cells, your immunity by utilizing supplements such as vitamin D. You can get the sun. And now spring is coming up, so you can get more sunlight. Get that vitamin D going, because it really does boost your immunity within your lungs and your gut. And it's a modulator. It modulates. Remember, I talked to you about you don't want too high and you don't want too low of immunity. And that's what vitamin D is. It's an immune modulator. So it quelches that fire when you've got too much, and then it boosts your immunity to fight the right type of bugs to get rid of it. Zinc and selenium. Those are two minerals that I am a big believer of. Zinc is very well known to be a immune booster, especially in the respiratory, upper respiratory. So get zinc lozenges, and you can actually probably make zinc lozenges. You can find that on YouTube, because they found that zinc lozenges work because it's slowly melting into your mouth, and slowly the cells of your upper respiratories which is the first defense. When you're exposed to any kind of respiratory, droplets, let's say, or aerosol of any virus, you want that first defense going on, and that zinc is fabulous. Selenium, that's my favorite when it comes to management of the growth of virus. It's selenium to me. I've been using it for 20-something years, and it's like the birth control for viruses. It controls the replication, and there's so much more. But I want to give you 2 natural herbs that quenches the fire, and you don't use this before you get sick. This is when, if you got a cold or any kind of virus, and one is andrographis, and the second one is olive leaf. Both of them have properties to really minimize that cytokine storm. It reduces, number one, viral infection. It reduces the number of days that you'll be sick, but also it minimizes the action. So it quenches that fire while it's killing, and helping, I should say killing, but helping boost your immunity against the virus. Those are the 7. I think we went through all of them.
So I want to add one more P, because it's one that I always talk about. You have to plan.
Oh, I love that.
Nothing will ever happen. Like, one thing I know about health and well-being, it is not possible if you do not have self-discipline. So I think every single thing, like from food, you have to come up with a food plan. Exercise, you've got to put it in your calendar. When you're exercising, what you're doing, what you need for that exercise. The more detailed you are with your plan, the more likely you're actually going to do it. It's like that with everything. So
I love that, Lavinia. That P's fantastic. Prepare and plan. The P, right? Yeah, preparation is like 90%, of everything, and your intention of what you're doing is going to be right there if you plan. And most of the time, of course, it happens just the way you want it.
Exactly. So I think that's a big one. So yeah, like I said, you cannot be healthy. Like, you cannot be healthy if you do not have self-discipline. That is part of the equation of mindfulness, of wellness. I mean, it definitely takes, like, you've got to ground yourself. You've got to be disciplined. The first couple months are not easy, especially when you're coming off of sugar and you're making dietary changes. It's not like, it can be really daunting. I remember when I did my first cleanses, it wasn't easy. But then by like the 7th or 8th day, you start feeling so good. Like, all of a sudden you feel good. Your skin looks amazing. You have all this energy. You're not crashing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when you usually want to like go and grab, something to eat or something,
And doesn't it make you want to do it again? I mean, you want to stick to it because it works. You want to stick to it because now your body's adapted to another level. And, it's so clear when your brain is clear, your body's feeling that power, you want to continue and keep it and elevate it, right? And there's so many, so we're constantly, this is all about tweaking your life. Tweak it here, tweak it there, and do exactly what feels right for you.
And I always say in my workshops that what you do today is going to affect you in 90 days. So the habits and the stuff that you're living now. So if people are drinking more and they're eating, more garbage, and because they're nervous and stuff, it's almost like the adrenaline right now, they're going to be okay. But in 90 days from now, they're just going to be so lethargic. They're going to be tired. You're going to be cranky. You're going to be agitated. You're just not going to feel good. So really, like, you just have to, not have to, but inspire yourself, motivate yourself, because once, like Susanne said, once you start feeling good, like I gave up coffee 3 years ago, and I was never a really big coffee drinker, but I just felt like that was the last vice that I had, that I just always felt dry in the mouth when I drank coffee. And I always felt like after I drank coffee, I had to go and drink like 32 ounces of water to sort of deal with the acidity from that to become alkaline again. And I was thinking, it's not even worth it. But yet it wasn't easy for me to get off the coffee. Like even though I had maybe 1 cup to 2 cups a day. So it's, but then you start feeling so great. And then it's like, I forget. Like, so
That's right.
those shifts, and then you definitely feel better.
One of the things that I share with all of my patients is that what you want to do is you want to compare yourself of who you are from what you were before. Do not compare yourself to what you think you're going to be, or you're constantly seeking out in the front, only because sometimes you don't reach your goals and you will be disappointed. But if you compare yourself to how you were, let's say you 3 years ago, I quit. I mean, look at yourself now. You've got vibrant energy. You feel good without that coffee. You don't have dry mouth or the coffee breath, and you're not peeing all the time because coffee is a dehydrator. So there's so many things that we don't realize, having all these little shifts and how it can change. Really look back, compare yourself to who you were before. And if you do that, that's when you're going to feel like, oh, I'm moving in the right direction.
Right. Well, this is all great, 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 great. So we really have already passed our time, and I really kind of want to have integrity around that. So again, Susanne, thank you so much. We'll get all this information on the website. I think we should definitely do this again, because I can imagine that people are just really going to be like, I want more. I want more. I know I want more.
Sure, I'm totally open to it. I'm happy to be here and so excited that you're going to be continuing this journey of sharing and bringing people together. This is really about creating community, like-minded people who all want to live a very enthusiastic, energized life.
Yes, yes, yes.
Great. All righty.
So last thing I just want to close with today is, in times like this, I was really thinking about, like, okay, in times like this, like when I look at all the way the sponsors and everybody's responding, it's like everyone is really coming together with their heart full of love and generosity and kindness and humility. Like, it's really just that sweet time of being gentle with ourselves, having compassion for ourselves, understand that we do have these human experiences, the fear and the anxiety, and, just be able to just say, okay, let me be gentle with myself. Let me be gentle with others, because I know a lot of people are getting very agitated because we're so close. I mean, we're living on top of each other. So it's just a time to, like, connect to your soul, connect to yourself, be tender, be gentle, just really work on being calm and not being reactionary. Like, just take those few seconds to just say, you know what, I'm not going to react right now. I'm just going to take a little bit of time to connect to why I'm feeling so heated up by this. And you might even notice it might not even be the other person. It might just be that you're a little agitated, because we're living in circumstances that can really be frustrating and very, very agitating to everyone. So again, thank you so much. Wednesday, we're back on. We're doing a mindfulness and mindset broadcast, and we'll be getting out all the flyers and all the social media stuff on it. Susanne, I love you.
Love you, Lavin.
Okay,
thank you so much, Lavinia. Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy the weekend.
See you next time. You too.